What's going on? So the Menendez brothers got resentenced to 55 years, meaning they'll be eligible for parole. I remember the whole Loud and Eric Mendez story. I remember when that was big news back in the late 80s. It was all over the news how two uh, young brothers unalived their parents and alleged freaky deaky that their father was freaky deaky, and how their story grabbed headlines, and how come they've served all this time and they can't just walk out right now. I'm amazed that they can't walk out right now, because I mean, what else do they got to do? What else do they got to do? What else, what much more sentence do they need? It ain't more than pay their debt to society. Um, I don't condone anyone unaliving folks. However, one thing about it is that if things are going on in the home, they're going to come out in some form of fashion. And this was such extreme that it came out. And they weren't believed. People thinking, well, how come, people didn't want to believe that it was true? It's one of those things where um it was almost like people thought they were lying. Uh they thought that they were, this is the thing. If you've ever been in an abusive household where your parents or something and they say stuff, it's amazing how people don't want to believe that it's true. And I'm not talking about freaky deaky. I'm talking about anything where you're not really wanted, like you're not loved. They think that the camouflage are buying you things, putting these pedestals, or selling a facade. And a lot of times people say, "Oh, you were spoiled, this and that and the other." They don't take the time to understand what you had to go through. But sometimes these parents just don't want their kids. They using them as like a pinata when no one sees them, or they use them like a stuffed animal, and it's all for decoration and show. Not everybody who creates and has a blessing in life to bring children to the world should be parents. They just someone who was a donor. That's basically what it is, you know. And these two men read their story, being consistent, went through something, obviously, but people don't really want to believe that it's true, or want to look the other way, and they just want you to take this and take that. I'm not trying to diddy it up, but I'm making a serious point that it is real. And when you speaking out on something of this heinous and this horrific, why aren't they believed? How come people can't ever believe that parents can manipulate a situation